House of the Dragon Season 3 is finally ended, and the finale just proved that the dance of the dragon is about to become even more brutal. The Battle of Tumbleton finally explodes. Ulf the White makes one of the most shocking moves of the entire season. Aegon is still alive. Rhaenyra finally starts becoming the kind of king her enemy have been warning everyone about. And then the finale delivers a heartbreaking death that completely changed the future of the war. But the biggest question is not simply who died. It's this: what does this ending actually mean for season 4? Because the finale may have looked like a victory of Rhaenyra, but underneath that victory, everything is falling apart. So let's break down the House of the Dragon Season 3 finale, the Battle of Tumbleton, the biggest death, the shocking battle, and that ending. And yes, major spoiler from the point forward. The episode immediately deals with the biggest shock from episode 7. Aegon is alive. And even more importantly, Sunfyre is alive. For Rhaenyra, this is terrible news. And she believed Aegon was essentially finished. But now she knows that the Green King still has a dragon and could potentially become a serious threat again. And this changed Rhaenyra. She became much more aggressive. The woman who spent so much of the season trying to avoid unnecessary bloodshed is starting to disappear. Instead, Rhaenyra begins thinking like someone who believes that mercy has already cost her too much. And that becomes one of the most important character changes in their entire finale. One of the most interesting parts of the finale is watching Rhaenyra lose faith in the people around her. She becomes increasingly suspicious of Corlys and Mysaria. Her relationship with Mysaria completely breaks down. Rhaenyra eventually sends Mysaria away after discovering information that make her question whether she can trust her. And this is important because Mysaria has been one of the Rhaenyra's strongest source of information. By pushing her away, Rhaenyra is cutting herself off from someone who helped her survive politically. But Rhaenyra does not seem to care anymore. She wants control, she wants obedience, and most importantly, she wants victory. That is a very different Rhaenyra from the woman we saw earlier in the season. And the finale make it clear that the war is changing her. Then we finally get what the entire season has been building toward: Tumbleton. The battle became one of the biggest action sequences the show has ever produced. Aemond Hightower's force have taken control of Tumbleton. The town became a battlefield with civilians caged in the middle. Daemon arrived with the Winter Wolves. Riverland force has its allies. And this is where Daemon finally gets to do what he has been preparing for all season. He leads the attack. The battle becomes complete chaos. Soldiers are fighting everywhere. Dragons fly in the sky. And for a moment, it looked like the Black might actually win. But then everything changed. Ulf the White became the wild card. And this is probably one of the craziest movements of the episode. Instead of simply choosing greens or the black, Ulf became completely unpredictable. He takes Silverwing into the battle and attack. But his dragon fire does not simply destroy the enemy. It creates absolute chaos. Ulf ends up killing people on both sides, including major figures from the battle. Among them are Aemond Hightower and Roderick Dustin, the legendary Roddy the Ruin. And that tells us something extremely important. The Dragon Riders are not longer weapons that their commander can easily control. The entire point of giving Rhaenyra more Dragon Riders was supposed to be simple. More dragon means more power, but the finale shows the opposite. More dragon also means more chaos, and Ulf is a perfect example. The dance of the dragon has reached a point where even the people fighting the war don't fully understand what their own weapons are capable of. Another major question coming out of the battle is Daeron. Daeron has been one of the most important new green characters this season, and after the chaos of Tumbleton, his fate became uncertain. Gwenny Hightower survived and searched for him, but Daeron is not found. The important thing here is that the show does not give us a clean answer. So for now, Daeron's fate remains one of the major mystery heading into season 4, and that is probably deliberate. Because if the show wanted us to believe Daeron was definitely dead, it could have shown us. Instead, we are felt wondering, Where is Daemon? And more importantly, will he returns? But the most heartbreaking part of the finale happens away from the battle. Helaena. Throughout season 3, Helaena has been struggling with her vision. She has seen things other characters cannot understand. She knows the travel events are coming and she has become increasingly trapped by the future. She seems unable to escape. Then the finale drives her tragic death. Helena dies by suicide and the movement becomes one of the darkest scenes of the entire season. And this is more than just another character death. Helena was one of the few people in the story who seemed to understand where all this was going. Her vision made her different. She did not seem interested in power. She did not want the throne. She simply wanted to survive the nightmare around her. But she could not escape it. And her death is another sign that this war is destroying people who never wanted to be part of it. Meanwhile, Aemond's storyline is also changing. His time at Harrenhal has pushed him to breaking point. His relationship with Alice River has completely changed the way he sees himself. And after everything that happened, Aemond finally leaves Harrenhal. This is important because Aemond and Rhaegar together are still one of the most dangerous combinations in the entire war. The Green still have an enormous weapon and now Aemond is back in the wider conflict. So season 4 is going to have a very different Aemond. He is not simply the angry prince chasing revenge anymore. He is someone who has been psychologically destroyed by everything that happened at Harrenhal. And that could make him even more dangerous. Now let's talk about the relationship that has basically been holding the entire story together. Rhaenyra and Daemon. Their relationship has been through betrayal, jealousy, distance and reconciliation. By the end of season 3, Daemon has fully committed himself to Rhaenyra's cause. But now the situation is different. Rhaenyra is becoming more ruthless, Daemon is becoming more focused, and both of them finally understand that this war is not going to end quickly. Daemon leaves the fight of Tumbleton, and his actions shows that he is no longer simply fighting for his own ambitions. He has accepted his role in Rhaenyra's war. But there is also something bigger happening. The vision of Harrenhal has changed Daemon. He now understands that his life is part of something much larger. And that makes his future extremely important. Because Daemon now knows that winning this war is not necessarily the same thing as surviving it. Another fascinating part of the finale is Rhaenyra's attempt to strengthen her position as queen. She wants to project power. She wants people to see her as the legitimate ruler. But the problem is that the people of King's Landing are not necessarily celebrating her. The city is unstable. The war has already destroyed trust, and Rhaenyra's attempt to project authority cannot hide the fact that the kingdom is breaking apart. This is one of the major themes of the finale. Winning the throne and ruling the kingdom are two complete different things. Rhaenyra may have the title, she may have dragons, she may have armies, but she does not automatically have the love of the people. And that is going to matter enormously in season 4. So what does the ending actually mean? The simple answer is, the Dance of the Dragon is only getting started. Tumbleton is a major victory in some way, but it does not end the war. Instead, the battle creates more death, more betrayal and more uncertainty. Aegon is still alive, Sunfyre is still important, Aemond is back, Daeron's fate is unknown, Rhaenyra is becoming more ruthless, Daemon is fully committed to the war, and Helaena is gone. That's not a conclusion. That's a setup for the final stage. And remember, season 4 will be the final season. So the show has now positioned almost every major character for the endgame. Now let's talk about the future. First, I think Aegon will remain extremely important. The fact that he survived means his story is far from over. Second, Aemond is going to become even bigger threat. With Rhaegar, he still has the most terrifying dragon advantage. Third, Rhaenyra is entering a dangerous period. She has spent years fighting for the throne, but now she is beginning to lose the passion and compassion that once made her different from the people she was fighting. And that could ultimately become her biggest weakness. Then there is Daemon. His future is probably going to be one of the biggest emotional storyline of the final season. Because Daemon has finally accepted what his role is. And in this world, understanding your destiny does not necessarily mean you can escape it. The most tragic thing about House of the Dragon is that almost nobody actually wins. Every victory costs something. Every dragon attack creates another enemy. Every betrayal creates another betrayal, and every person who gets closer to the Iron Throne loses another piece of themselves. That is exactly what we saw in this finale. Tumbleton was not just a battle, it was a warning. The war has become bigger than Rhaenyra, bigger than Aegon, bigger than the Green and the Blacks. The Dragon are now deciding the fate of Westeros. And season 4 is going to show us what happened when there are simply too many dragons, too many enemies, and too much blood spilled for anyone to stop. So now I want to hear from you. What did you think the House of the Dragon season 3 finale? Was Tumbleton everything you expected? Did Helena's death surprise you? Do you think Aegon can still take back the throne? And what do you think will happen to Daemon and Rhaenyra in season 4? Tell me your theories in the comment. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Screen Time with Azhar because season 4 is going to be the final chapter of this Targaryen war. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.